Okay. Then anywhere he could, the student come down, ask question. Let me know if I should start. If I should start. Okay. Hello everyone. Good morning. My name is Blessing, the international recruitment officer for Bangor University. It's actually lovely to meet you guys. I think there are some faces that are not really familiar. I don't know if I've met you guys before. Oh, okay. So actually today is going to be like a refresh training, and also for our is who and where we are as a university, international support. What support will this international student receive? Because most times international students are actually concerned about what support they are going to receive because they are living far away from home, and at the same time they want to ensure that they have a family they could rely on in case of anything. And then we'll be talking about the programs which I know most of the students have already applied, and they've applied, they've already know what their tuition fee is, and then most of the students would have gotten one of the scholarships, which is either the international scholarships or maybe the Dean scholarship. And then the most important thing as well is students want to know what happens after their program. Are they going to have an opportunity to get a job in the UK, or would they be returning back home, which a lot of students have been asking after their program? Would they have the opportunity to stay back in the UK, or after their program, what happens? And then also, international students don't know the right way to look for proper jobs, because as Africans, most times we want to go with the trend. We're going with whatever other persons are going for. But in this section, or um, in this section, we'll be talking about all those things so that we get it right when we arrive to the UK. So I'm sure we've heard of Bangor so many times, and at the same time we'll be wondering, okay, it's in South Wales, is it close to? We know Chester, and we'll be thinking, okay, where is it in Wales exactly? Because sometimes you'll be somebody will like Bangor, and you'll be asking where is Bangor. So Bangor is actually situated in the beautiful heart of North Wales, surrounded by stunning sceneries, beaches, and lovely mountains. The unique location offers an ideal setting for outdoor activities and a relaxed lifestyle, making Bangor an excellent choice for students who are looking for a very peaceful and safe place to study. So, a student who is looking for a very calm, quiet, peaceful place to study, then it's Bangor. So on the screen, you can see that Bangor is actually 3 hours away from London. London is a very popular place, and London is a very expensive place, to be honest. But you can see that with the train, within 3 hours, London, maybe just to go for sightseeing or visit a friend and come back to stay in Bangor and live a very comfortable and affordable life as well. And then Bangor is 1 hour 30 minutes away from Manchester and Liverpool, 2 hours 30 minutes from Birmingham as well, and 3 hours 30 minutes away from Dublin. So you can see that Bangor is actually in the middle or in the center of the UK, but you can get to all those places very easily because it's actually connected to some of the popular cities in the UK. Bangor University has been ranked one of the top 10 university in terms of accommodation. Sorry, this was 2023. It's yet to be edited. And then we'll be ranked one of the top 10 universities in the UK for 2024. And we were ranked one of the top 10 because of the sceneries, because of the beaches we have. But we're ranked one of the top 10 in the UK because of the lovely facilities the university has put in place for students. So you could see that this is what the accommodation. This is what the accommodation look like. This is the hostel. This is the St. Mary's site. The St. Mary's site is for the undergrad, it's for the postgraduate student, and we have the Freedom Village, which is for the undergraduate student. So the Freedom Village is actually on the quiet side of Bangor, where we have the undergraduate students. And the quiet side of that, the students are actually in that quiet side because it makes them not to get distracted easily, and is on the other quiet side, and they get the opportunity to meet students from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, and they make long-term friends automatically. And then St. Mary's side is on the busy side of Bangor, is on the high street. On that place, it's a very open place, it's a very busy place. And it's on the busy place because these are advanced or mature students who were able to take look after themselves as well. And this is what the accommodation look like. The accommodation is a four room in a building, and then the student have their suite. The student have their suite to themselves. The student have their suite to themselves, and then the students share the common space with the other student. So the common space is the kitchen, and the student might be in that accommodation. They might not meet their roommates because everybody is quite busy. Everybody is going to classes. Everybody is going to classes. Everybody is doing one thing or the other, and then maybe sometimes you might get to see one of their roommates in the kitchen. And then all the student need to do is bring everything to the bring only their luggages, and then they have a desk for their laptop, they have a TV, they have the bed, and they have their restroom. So all the students need to do is to clean their ailment suits, and then a cleaner comes to clean the kitchen. So because of these lovely facilities the school have put in place, that's the more reason why we were ranked one of the top 10 in terms of accommodation in the UK. And then this is the breakdown of what a student should have in mind. Because at this point, because of the current fluctuation of the currency, a lot of students want to know what the exact breakdown is, so that they'll be able to plan their finances. So for accommodation in Bangor, we have two types of accommodations in Bangor. We have the private halls, and we have the school halls as well. For the private halls is more like a private landlord, just the same way we rent accommodations here in Nigeria, where you get a normal landlord and you get your accommodation. That's what we call a private landlord. And then the school accommodation is just like the same way we have the school hostel here in Nigeria, where you have a school hostel, and then you rent from the school if you want to stay in the school. But the thing is, if I'm saying school hostel, does not mean that the school has just the same way we have a school hostel in Nigeria and a school. A hostel is inside the school and the school has a gate and all those things. No. But the school hostel or the school accommodation or the school halls is within the community, is within Bangor. It's just a walking, maybe like 5 minutes or 2 minutes. Even the private hall as well is also 2 minutes as well. It's the same walking distance. And then for accommodation, it's not up to £540, but it's just an estimate because of the current exchange rate. The student might get for around that 300 and something pounds within the school accommodation. But it's better for the student to have more than enough to go to school and then. So that's the more reason I imputed £540. Because of the current, when you change naira to pounds now, it's it's a little bit higher. So it's better for the student to have more than enough. And then when they get there, they're like, oh, I was told it's this amount, and then they start struggling. And then for the private accommodation, I remember when I was a student at Bangor, I stayed in the private accommodation because that was what I could afford, and that was very affordable for me. I remember then the first accommodation I got was around £200. And then I have a very lovely view from my window. I could see the pier. And then because it was upstairs, and then I felt like, okay, it's more like a struggle to go on the third floor after the whole day. I just had to went downstairs, stay on the first floor down, and the room was a little bit bigger. In Nigeria we have all those big rooms, and you want to stay there, so I had to go to that one, and it was £300. But the thing is, in Bangor, you get if you want to stay in a private accommodation, it depends on your own preference, it depends on your own capability, it depends on what you can pay for. And also with the school halls, like I showed you earlier, you can see how spacious it is, and very beautiful amenities, is well furnished. You don't need to start thinking of buying chairs, you don't need to think of buying furniture in the house. Everything is there. You just need to pay for you just need to carry your luggages and pay for the rent. And then for food and entertainment, this depends on the individual lifestyle as well. As a student, normally international students, when they are leaving home, they tend to take a whole lot of their foodstuffs when they are going along with them. And that's the more reason why most times when someone is coming to the UK, they tell you just bring foodstuff, take less clothes. Because the clothes we have in Nigeria, if you notice, as a lady, we wear chiffon because that's what we actually want for the weather, because the weather is actually hot. And imagine you taking this chiffon and then maybe you take this jumper along with you. It's not going to absorb the cold because the cold there is much, and at the end of the day you end up wearing like 10, 5 clothes, and you'll be looking very big in it because you want to kill cold. So all the clothes in your imagine all the clothes in your box, you wear everything because you want to keep fit. But the thing is, most times when students are going, they tell students bring much foodstuffs and then bring lesser clothes. Just bring one or few. For foodstuff, why they say take a lot of foodstuff is because the African foodstuff is quite expensive, right? So once I remember when I was living as a student, and as a Nigerian, when you're leaving, your parents will give you a whole lot of foodstuffs. Even if your uncles, your auntie comes back home, they want to get all those dry foodstuff and give those family members because they know most times they don't get all those things there. So they most of the foodstuff needs to be dried and then put in a ziploc, and if possible, just label them so that when you get to the airport and then you are being asked what's this, you'll be able to have the names on it. That's in the airports in Nigeria. So it's better to take a whole lot of foodstuffs. And then when you get there, all you need to do, there's constant light. All you need to do is put them in the freezer. When you put them in the freezer, it lasts you for a very long time till the food finishes. In Nigeria, the freezer, and it's going to last you for a very long time. The freezer back. In Nigeria, we don't have constant light, and it will not work if you put it in the fridge. Even if you put a spoon to take it before you come back, if that spoon was wet or you don't use dry pepper in the fridge, grounded dry pepper, you use it and put it back in the fridge and you meet it the way it is, nothing happens. It stays for a longer time. And then for entertainment, it depends on the individual lifestyle. If the person likes clubbing, person likes going out, going to Domino's Pizza, going to Cold Stone, it depends on the individual. So the student is looking at maybe £250, but it depends. But I remember when I was a student, I didn't do too much entertainment and all those stuff. It was just my food stuff, and in a month I should be looking at 25 to £50. There's even sometimes in a month I don't buy any food stuff. Even if I want to buy any food stuff, I get only what's and fresh pepper, and I could get a whole bowl of fresh pepper for £1. All I need to do is use bit from it and then put it back in the freezer. It freezes, bring it out whenever I want to use it. A whole bowl of pepper. You can In Nigeria you can use a whole bowl of pepper, which they are saying for 1,000 and be 5,000, and it's 5 pieces or 10 pieces, right? But this one you get a whole lot. You can't even use one seed. All you need to do is cut it into half, use that half and put it back because it's extremely hot. If you put the whole one seed, the whole food will be totally hot. You just need to cut a little over 2 months and you'll still have it there because you're just taking bits by bits because you're pinching from it. And then protein, you get your fish, meat, and all those things. You get it at a very affordable rate as well in in the malls there. So the only thing I had to spend was 25 or to £50. Sometimes I don't even buy anything. But if you want to buy all those groceries like biscuit, milk, all those stuff, juice, ice cream, you can buy them and you get them at a very discounted rate in the malls because those things are quite expensive here in Nigeria. But when you go to the malls there, it's cheaper. You can get there at a very £20. You get all those whole lot of things in the bag. And then for that other expenses, as a student when I was in Bangor, I didn't see any other expenses coming my way. The only expenses could be maybe you breakdown. Standard of living in Bangor is very affordable. And because a student is studying in Wales, the UKVI required a student show 9,207. If you check the standard of the required amount required by the UKVI and the required amount by people staying in London, you could see that there's a whole lot of difference. Those who are staying in England will be more expensive. And then you can see that because the student is staying in Wales, it's a bit affordable, which is around £9,207. And the student needs to show that for 1 month. And please, I know at the moment, because of the current exchange rate, as of today is £2,100 per naira. Because of the current exchange rate, unpredictable exchange rate, it's more than enough. I know more than enough cannot be enough, but the student should maybe have like maybe £1,000 extra just in case, or 1 million extra just in case the exchange rate changes. The student will not need to start counting for another 28 days. And then as an international student, we want to ensure that when we get to the UK, we get that support because we don't have our families there. But for Bangor University, we have the international support team, and the international support team is more like a family to the international student back in the UK for us in Bangor. So for those of the students who have gotten an offer already, you'd have gotten an email from this team telling you about our airport pickup. Our airport pickup is going to the this team will be going to the airport to pick students from Manchester Airport. Remember, I said earlier that the nearest airport to Bangor is Manchester Airport, and it's just 1 hour 30 minutes. So we'll be picking students from Manchester Airport down to Bangor. So the student would have received an email from this team telling them the time we'll be coming to the airport to pick them. We are not coming to pick only students. We're not only coming to pick Nigerian students, we're coming to pick different students from different parts of the world. So we'll be picking students from Bangor, from Manchester to Bangor. And then once we pick these students, we take them to their various accommodations where they need to stay in when they arrive the UK. So we're not just dropping them at the school gate and say, we've gotten to the school gate, please can you get off the coach? No. We'll ask the students, which of the accommodations are you staying? Are you staying in the private accommodation or the school accommodation? If they mention the school accommodation, we're going to take them to the when the student get there, or when you as a student get there, you're not just left on your own. Remember, I said they are more like your family now. And they are doing all those things for you to feel free as a student, for you to speak with them if you'll be going through any challenges. So the students, when the student gets into their various accommodation, they give the student a one-to-one guidance on what they need to do. The students don't need to start contacting jokings, or they start contacting their friends and family who have studied in the UK previously to say, okay, I'm in the UK now. I don't know. We Nigerians, we like that thing very well. You call somebody who have stayed in the UK before and say, okay, I'm here now. I don't know what I need to do. I don't know if I need to do anything so that I'm registered in the system. We like those things very well, especially when we go to school normally in Nigeria. We'll say we want to know whether we are registered already. And what is the next things I need to do? You have your boxes, you'll be ticking it when you finish register with the hospital. And that's what the team do, healthcare. They are registering with the hospital, and the hospital needs to be like 10, 20, or 5 minutes away from them. I remember when I was a student in Bangor, my surgery at the hospital was just 5 minutes away from me. I could walk to the surgery if I need any support or anything, or to visit my doctor, or to do any checkup. And then they also tell students how to open a bank account, a UK bank account. They tell students the document they need. They need their term letter, they need their passport, they need their BRP card as well. And then the term letter, the student might be wondering what is term letter, because everything over there is online. Unlike Nigeria, where you need to go to admission office or give you one letter, go to VC's office or one thing. No, everything is online, and that's why they will get to support you. On the student portal, you can download that document, and they'll tell you how to download it from your own portal yourself. And then also, they'll be taking you around the community just for you to know your whereabouts in Bangor. So you'll be able to know where is where in Bangor, show you all the places you'll be visiting as a student, or places you'll be using more often. And then also they tell you to do, or prompt you to do, your last registration, which is your physical registration. So once you've gotten your offer, you've made your deposit, you've gotten your visa, you'll see an email from us to do your online registration. If they need to do, they don't need to start calling anybody who have studied in Stafford or any other university to say, please, I just want to confirm if this is what you did in your school. This team will be giving them that one-to-one guidance. And then what does this international support team do? This international support team supports in employment regulations. For example, you're on holiday and you want to work more than 20 hours, and your employer is telling you, we need to see a letter from your school that you're actually on holiday. This is the team for them to contact. They need to contact them, and this team will tell them where they can get that term letter on their profile again to download. When they download that profile, they'll be able to show the employer that they are currently on holiday and they can work more than 20 hours. And then immigration. If the students, for example, will have anything that will hinder them from attending classes, then the student needs to speak to the team. They need to speak to the immigration team if they know they will not be attending classes. They need to speak with the international support team, or they need to let their personal tutor know that as well. And then also we have the visa applications. Maybe you finish your master's program or your undergraduate program and you're progressing to masters, then this team will help you do the visa application at no cost. It's free. And then for financial matters, if you're a student, you're really, really struggling, you're yet to get money from your parents from because normally to get money from Nigeria to the UK takes some days to eat. Please, you can contact the support team and then they could be able to direct you appropriately or um, maybe support you, maybe by giving you a voucher to get um, to get maybe some little stuff from the mall. But please don't take that as an advantage because they are going to support you or give you when you arrive to the UK. So the thing is, like I mentioned, it depends on your own capability and it depends on your own preference as well. If you want to stay in the private accommodation, you can contact the international support team. They'll give you the various options of the private accommodation and the school halls as well. Then general welfare and issues. As individuals, we go through a lot of challenges. Everybody here have one or two challenges. But the way we're being brought up in Africa is if you're going through a lot of challenges or if you're going through any challenges, keep it to yourself. Because here in Africa, you might be discriminated, or at the same time, it might be used against you because you tell people what challenges they say you're chasing clout and all that. We see very awful to them. So in the UK, it's totally different. Please, when you get to the UK, it's a place where you've never been before, and definitely it's going to be a smooth transition for you. When you get there, please, you're experiencing possible to meet the international support team and speak with. There's nothing like stupid issue. If you feel you don't know how to communicate or you feel you might not be communicating properly the way they understand you, please try as much as possible to even send an email or send me an email. I'll be glad to channel your complaint or your request to them and they'll glad to support you. Or you go come to the office, look for me, and I'm glad to follow you there to respond. Like I said, in Nigeria, we keep things, we've been brought up in a system whereby they'll tell you, keep it to yourself, don't tell anybody this, that, and all. But please, it's totally different there. You need to speak out so that you need to be supported. If you don't speak out, you will not be helped. So please try as much as possible to speak out. Traveling abroad as Africans or even as Nigerians, we want to have all the whole stamps in the world. So because as a youth, as a student, you're entitled to some countries because of your student visa, and then you want to start traveling everywhere. Please, before you travel to anywhere, try as much as possible to ask the international support team if it is okay for you to travel. Because if you travel, for example, you usually have a 1 week reading week. That 1 week reading week is not for you to travel or go and start seeing people. It's after your 6 weeks lecture. For let me say you come in September and then October, they give you around October, November, you're asked to go on 1 week reading week. 1 week reading week is for you to have a catch up of everything you've done for the past 6 weeks. Now you have the time to open your books, check what you've done. But because now reading week, everybody is not going to class if you're on holiday and then you decided to buy a ticket and go to Kenya or go to Paris or one thing. At the end of the day, you're bridging your day. So please, before you travel, try and speak to the international support team, and they'll tell you if it is okay for you to travel or not. And then we have, and because of this amazing support, the amazing team, and the job they do, we'll be ranked top two for student experience in the UK, meaning we go beyond and above to ensure that student satisfactions are met. Because if we don't meet student expectations, there's no point for us being in existence. And funny enough, we just completed 140 years in February. We're 140 years as a university. So you can see how long we've been in existence. And you can see, and we've gotten whole lot, we've got a whole lot of alumni, and those alumni are really doing well for themselves. We've gotten a lot of alumni who have great profiles in Nigeria. It was actually nice to meet some of our alumni in Nigeria in February. I'm working with NDIC. They have their in top positions, managers and assets and GT banks. We have people working with central, and we have politicians' children as well. Tinubu has been to Nigeria, has been to Bangor before. And is it Governor Ambodi or so? Their son was graduating. They've been to Bangor before. So we have high-profile people who their children have actually studied in Bangor, and they are really doing well for themselves, and even non-politicians as well, those working in central banks in Nigeria. Before you get into central bank in Nigeria, you need to go through a lot. And it's just that our degree is actually well recognized. So even though you come back home after your program to get jobs opportunity in all these in all these top organizations, definitely you'll be recognized, because the Bangor University certificate is globally recognized as well. So this is what the university look like. This is the campus. This is the main lecture hall. That's one of our main lecture hall. That's what the lecture hall look like. That's the sport field, and that's the gym. And moreover, this is not cut and paste. This is exactly what you're going to meet when you get to Bangor. This is what you ordered, and this is what you are going to get as a student when you arrive Bangor. So for the gym, you just need to pay with a research ship, and it's called the Prince Mandok research ship. I think we went on that. We got on the ship, yes. So beautiful ship available for you to have or to lay. Game of Thrones actually and Wednesday, yeah. So when you come to Bangor, you can still have the opportunity to visit the castle as well, and then you see everything for yourself, just the same way it was in the movie. It's still there as well. And the more reason why we have all those facilities in Bangor, it's for students to have practical experience on the program. Unlike Nigeria, where we have only just the theoretical aspect of the program, but in the UK or in Bangor, student gets the practical experience of the program. Meaning they are not just doing the what is, explain, differentiate, and all that. Now they are being given case scenarios where you need to act as if you're in that position already. I know you'll be wondering, what about those of us that are going for the theoretical aspect like business and all those things? Be rest assured that you get a whole lot of case scenario. I'll use myself as an example. When I was a student at Bangor University, I studied MBA management. And the first assignment I got was a coursework, meaning the coursework means it was my exam and it was my assignment as well. And then in the assignment, I was asked the course is the name. It's one of the business courses, global brand management, and I was asked to act as a brand manager in a company, meaning I need to open a company website. I need to promote. I thought they're going to ask what is global brand management, and then normally, you are going to say they'll ask A, B, C, and D normal in Nigerian exams and all those kind of stuff. And then for over 1 week, I was just going through my laptop and I was wondering, how will I answer this question? How will I answer this question? It got to the extent I took book and biro. I wrote this on book and biro and said, okay, this is the format I'm used to, book and biro. And then even wrote on book and biro, I didn't even know what to write. And I had to contact, then I had a peer guide. I had to contact the peer guide, and then she put me through, but I was not in it. So I had to contact my personal tutor. My personal tutor told me not to freak out, and then she had to tell me to contact the course lecturer. And in that instance, I was scared because in Africa, if you're being given an assignment, you can't go back to the lecturer to say, and this assignment, I don't. She gave me a breakdown of everything about the assignment. I was like, okay. I did concluded it. I sent it back to the lecturer, and the lecturer um, went through it, told me that was good, and then at the end of it, even told after the score came out, I got an A. So in essence, the university ensure that students have the practical experience because it's preparing you for the business world. Meaning, if you start working tomorrow or if you go to a job interview tomorrow, it won't be sounding strange when they ask you give a case scenario where you did this, where you did that. In your head, you said it's a case scenario, but the thing is, you actually learned on the program. You learned on the program, just the same way they say you learn on the job. You learned on the program, and then during the interview, you are likely to get that position because you've actually demonstrated you have an understanding for that job. And then one thing about Bangor is their staffs are very supportive as well. It's a very welcoming community. But like I said, you need to speak to people for them to be able to support you as well. Bangor is a very small community, and the staff they are very very supportive as well. And then, like I mentioned before, you'd have applied for a program, you've gotten your offer letter already, or you've gotten a conditional offer. Please for those who have conditional offer, we will go through this later and then we'll know what is outstanding for you. And then those with conditional of unconditional offer, please make your initial deposit as soon as possible because the September intake is already close at hand. And then on your offer letter, you already see what your tuition fee is. And at the moment, our initial deposit is £4,000. The initial deposit is £4,000 at the moment. So once you make your £4,000 initial deposit, you get your cash. Please, once before you get your cash, you're definitely gonna get on cash shield. What is cash shield? Cash shield is where you need to submit some supporting document like your passport, your TB certificate, and also do your credibility interview. So I'm going to talk on the credibility interview. The credibility interview is you and your laptop answering questions popping up your screen. So please, before you take the credibility interview, in as I know, if you write your SOP yourself, you should be able to answer those credibility interviews very confidently. And the questions are you need to prepare you need to do proper research about the UK. You need to do proper research about Bangor University. And please bear in mind it's going to be a general question as well. Don't just expect questions like what is and where is Bangor situated. You might be surprised and you get questions like what is your dream name like. So please, if you're answering the questions on Cash Shield, try as much as possible to be very smart and very prepared. Just the same way we have GST in our universities, whereby you are being the thing is you can never go finish the whole of that textbook because they have about normal English, they have about language and culture from exactly. So it comprises of different things than I can remember just the. It comprises of different things, and you will not be able to read the whole of that textbook when normally as a Nigerian you have like 13 courses to do for that semester. You can't read the whole of that textbook. So please, it's a general question. You don't just limit yourself to only maybe questions about Bangor and the UK. Learn those questions and at the same time be open to general questions when you are being asked those questions. If you are being asked, how is your dream day like? For example, my dream day like is to have all the money I have in my account, wake up one morning and say I'm going to Paris for just 24 hours, take my luggage, go with one of my friends, have a good time, and then come back to the UK, right? That same day, or come back to Nigeria that same day, and then still have that money in my account and then be able to do whatever I want to do, afford anything I want to do. That's how You're telling them what you feel your life should be like. So feel free to answer those questions. And this credibility interview is just to help you, just to prepare you in case the UKVI calls you for an interview. So it's better for you to be over prepared than under prepared, because if you submit your application and then the UKVI calls you for an interview, you'll be very confident to go for that interview. You will not start rejecting and say, hey God, I don't know what they want to ask me. This my village people said. And minor questions, even you in your head, like, oh, I thank God, though, this Bangor even over prepared me. So that's the essence of the credibility interview. So please of the scholarships, either the Dean scholarship or the international. And then also, if you have a family who have studied in Bangor, when you come into Bangor, let us know. You need to provide some documents to show proof of tie, and you also get the £1,000 discount off your tuition fee. We have over 150 clubs and society in Bangor, and these clubs and society were actually created because students are living far away from home, and because students are living far away from home, they created all those clubs for students not to feel lonely or feel far away from home. So the students have the opportunity to join as many clubs and society they want. And I keep telling students, if you come to the UK, join as much as possible a lot of societies, because you tend to learn new things differently. You tend to learn people's culture as well, because the whole essence of you going to the UK is for you to learn people's culture. Imagine you going to the UK and you learn some things you are supposed to unlearn from the Nigerian system, and then you start thinking differently. Even your friends and your family, even your friends and your family will be so happy with you and say, oh, they've seen a lot of changes in you as well. And then we have the African community. It has been one of the strongest and is still the strongest. Please don't limit yourself to only the African community. But the thing is, the African community will give you an opportunity to meet with other African students from Gambia, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana. You meet with different African students. The thing as Africans is we only fight ourselves only in Nigeria. I say Nigerian fighting Ghanaian, the Jollof do not do Falcon this, Falcon that. But the beauty about it all is when you get to the UK, all those people automatically becomes your brother and sisters. It's in Nigeria that you see Igbo man fighting Yoruba man, fighting Hausa man. When you got there that day, was it that way? You met a Ghanaian. Did you not blend? Did you even remember if he's a Ghanaian? In your head, is African, right? Is this? So that's how it is. We only fight ourselves here. But the good thing is when you get over there, you see life differently. You see life differently. So please, when you get there, don't limit yourself to only the African group. Try as much as possible to join other clubs in society. Meet with other students from different parts of the world, country, different parts of the world, for you to learn things differently. So that when you are speaking to your friends and your family, they'll be happy that yes, you've unlearned some bad habits and learned some good things. So the thing is, you definitely learn, you definitely get new ideas and understand other things differently. For those who will be graduating from the business school, have the opportunity to graduate with 2 degrees. Bangor has affiliation with all these professional bodies in the UK. Unlike Nigeria, you need to pay heavily to get all the certification. And the more certification we have as Nigerians, we or Africans, we feel the more yes, the more we add to our portfolio, and then at the same time you get working. A whole lot of organizations will be looking for you, and all the certifications are quite expensive in Nigeria if you want to do them. I remember when I was in Nigeria, I was doing what's it called? Is it the CIPM? I was doing the CIPM certification. I was doing stage by stage, and I will fail, I'll pay again, pay again. And I like, graduated from university, I studied MBA management, and I automatically CMI certification, which automatically made me a chartered manager in the UK. All I had to do was to pay, or what I'm still doing is to pay a little money every year for subscription, which automatically made me a member of that professional body. And also, all I had to do was try as much as possible to do the CFA certification program, because it's going to add to your portfolio. There's a whole lot of openings in terms of accounting jobs in the UK. A lot of people said it's difficult. The CFA is not difficult. Bangor preps their students before they take that certification. They give lectures to students who are writing the CFA certification, and after they've prepped the student, you do a mock exam, just the same way you do mock WAEC. Once you've done that, and you see that you're ready for the for the exam before you take the main CFA exam. So you can see that it's going to be a smooth and a very helpful process, because the lecturers will put you through, teach you, take their time to teach you. You do a mock exam, and if you feel you're not still ready, then you don't need to take the exam. You need to keep preparing till you feel you're 100% ready. And then, as students or international students who want to know what happens after we've collected those degrees we actually paid for, we have an employability service team in Bangor. The employability service team is a team that supports students, that support undergraduate students in terms of internship placement, part-time jobs, and graduate jobs. So for those who will be coming to Bangor, please try as much as possible that when you come, book an appointment with this team. Book an appointment with them. Let them know you want to know how to write a very good CV for yourself, a personalized CV. You want to know how to prepare for job interview. The way we prepare for job interview in the UK and in Nigeria is two different things. Like I mentioned before, they'll ask you about case scenarios. In Nigeria, most times you're not being asked case scenario, they ask you a different thing entirely, because you're here in the system, you know the format. In the UK, they love cover letters a lot. Cover letter is more like writing your SOP as well, but this is cover letter, telling your employer who you are, even with the fact that you're submitting a CV. A CV is a summary, while the cover letter is a story about yourself. So you need to speak with them for them to teach you how to do all those things. And when you're able to know how to do them, it's very easy for you to get a job. Another thing you should know as an international student is there are different websites where you look for jobs in the UK. In Nigeria, you can just type on Google education jobs around me. Jokins, if they have any positions in Jokins, it will pop out. If they need any lecturer in Abuja University, it will pop out. But in the UK, it's not that way. If you're looking for maybe any education job, you need to go to a particular website. If you're looking for NHS job, you need to go on NHS website. And that's why most times students will be telling you they don't see, they don't have, there's no job, right? They'll tell you, but it's because what people are saying, we don't do our own research. Book an appointment with this team, and they'll be able to put you through this whole. And then before you finish your program, you see yourself looking for jobs, you're applying for jobs, and you're getting it right. And then also, some of us have a lot of degrees that we don't know where we can work. If I ask anybody